2021 GSL SuperTournament Season 3.
Hey guys, welcome back. We've had two amazing series so far between Rogue and Dark and Cure and Trap. Cure just taking down Trap 3-1 in a fantastic back and forth, off the cuff series. Loved it, amazing, and now we have our ZVP for the night.
I'm feeling good about this one. Zoun, he's been impressing for a long time recently. I said it before in the previous broadcast, but this was a guy that in practice was just an absolute killer for years, but never was able to bring it together in tournaments. But here we are in 2021. He's getting a lot more solid showings. He's taking down good opponents.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got a really solid chance in this one.
Well, you know what? I would normally favor him here based on the way he's been playing recently.
Oh,
but,
really?
But Solar, I think it really struck me when you were talking about how his aggressive plays are his most impressive. And then literally after he just demolished in his first round Dream, who's been on kind of a tear in the last year and a half. And he said that exact thing in his interview, that you realize when he plays aggressively, he plays much better. So Solar on top of himself, knowing what his weaknesses are and what his strengths are.
Yeah.
I think that Solar is someone who could be a champion if he harnesses what he's good at and what he's bad at, you know?
Oh, he would be one of the best Zergs in the world.
Yeah.
No doubt, if you were to get that together.
Well, I think he already kind of is.
Yeah,
but then you add that, and it's like, okay, there we go.
Right,
That's a fearsome Zerg.
Yeah, because not only is his aggression scary in and of itself, but that also makes it more difficult to play against him if he chooses not to be aggressive, because you don't know what to anticipate. You have to be ready for every single kind of eventuality, and that's so tough to prepare against. All right, set one, Blackburn, Zoun vs Solar, looking up to be a good PVZ. Let's see if Solar brings out some more aggression. I'm thinking we're going to see some more classic high octane, big fighting.
I'm pumped, man. I'm wiggly about this match. Let's do it. Blackburn, our first map. Zoun vs Solar. Let's go.
Game start. Alpha X, Zoun. KaiZ Gaming, Solar.
Doesn't even have his hand on the keyboard and mouse.
Zerg players, man.
Dude.
So we're going to try and see if there's a hatch block here. Able to get that down in time. And Solar, I wonder if he's going to go for the gold, because if this is old school Solar, all his aggression, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it. Of course, always a pleasure having an audience here. It's such a nice breath of fresh air after what ended up being more than 2 years of just complete shutdown. It's kind of a bummer. All around the world.
Yeah. And in fact, our finals, all the tickets are already sold out. Sorry, guys, if you didn't get one.
People are excited.
Yeah.
StarCraft live audience is back here in Korea.
This is a big thing, man. Like, you know, honestly, the GSL for years had so many people coming to visit. Like, very oftentimes we'd have more non-Koreans in the audience than Koreans even, right?
It's like a tourist destination, you know?
Yeah. Well, you go to Seoul, you want to see some esports.
Of course.
It's the capital of such. Look how many times they played online.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
This is the first offline match.
80 games.
I was expecting this match to be close, but it might even defy that expectations and how close these players go. 38-42, that is not a lot of variance. These guys are in a dead heat, but I am still excited to see what Solar brings. I really do think we're going to see some more aggressive play from him. I'm expecting nothing less than Roach Ravager just ruining Zoun's day at least some of the times on these maps.
Well, from Zoun, I want to see Stargate, okay? Like, I think him more than a lot of Protosses goes into glaive builds that don't work. Like, I don't know. He likes glaives a lot, and he does go Stargate here, so I'll shut up about it now. But yeah, this is what I wanted to see from him. In my opinion, this is his best stuff, is when he opens up with a Stargate, and specifically I like him on those Void Rays.
Stargate PvZ, it gives you a lot of flexibility. You're able to take that third base. You're able to go up to Sky Toss if you want to. It's kind of the bread and butter in terms of just straight up macro play styles. And yeah, I agree with you. We've seen, I think, that adept timing maybe twice in this tournament so far, and it has not really gone well either time we've seen it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it doesn't oftentimes perform that well anymore. It's just kind of like a build everyone knows how to play against. And I always like to mention, adepts are not a unit that you can be like, I'm so good at microing adepts. It's like, no, and it's...
The ceiling is very low on them.
Yeah, it's a very tactical unit. So like once people solve all the different little tactics you're doing, it's very hard to eke more out of them.
There was one small time in Legacy of the Void with Glaive Adepts where if you were able to go into 2 Warp Prism Adepts and just have like four dropping somewhere and then like Adepts flying everywhere else, you're able to kind of like out multitask everybody.
Sure, yeah.
But
definitely multitasking, they're good in that,
Yeah, but that kind of thing doesn't really apply so much at this high level, Like these players are absolute killers.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to deal with multitasking like that, it's going to be a Zerg like Solar, Dark, or Rogue. And those are the players you're going to need to beat with those strategies, right?
Yeah, and +1 air.
Okay,
yeah, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna go directly up into some Sky Toss, I guess. We have to see now. A Ling runs up and sees that. Okay, it doesn't matter. He throws down the Stargate anyways. But Solar, I mean, when he was running up that ramp, there's no doubt in my mind that he was looking very carefully to see if the Cybernetics core was spinning. So
absolutely, he definitely knows what's going on right now. And so the question kind of is, what response is going to be from Solar, because this map, it's very playable for split map Sky Toss. We already see the second Stargate going up, and the Roach Warren makes me kind of think that we're going to see some kind of Roach Ravager timing, but maybe not. There isn't a lot of Queens in production. I'm a little perplexed by this. Maybe, I guess that's not too expensive.
It's not. It's like, it could be a safety measure, right? And, I mean, we could see something just crazy like Ravager Bile or something. I don't think we're going to see that. But I think it's just going to be a safety measure here. Occasionally people will do things like start air attack and then go charge, right? Like, just try to really throw you off. But an Overlord goes in, double checks what's what. And so there, I don't think we'll see any roaches.
Yeah, just more drones coming in production. A couple more Queens. Of course, get that Overlord speed. You do not want them getting all zapped by Void Rays.
He's on 6 gases now, so I'll be interested to see, like, where is he going to go? He's on layer. Like, are we going to see a Spire?
I don't know what the tech switch is going to be for him.
Well, it's going to be Infestation Pit or Spire at this point, right? Like, I mean, you could go Hydra, but it's not very good.
Okay, Infestation Pit goes down. That'll be the transition. In the meantime, Zoun just filling out his tech tree a little bit more, adding that robotics facility, 4 more gateways. Everybody just kind of macroing up right now. And this Infestation Pit, so, okay, I was going to say, I'm perplexed by the lack of Queens going along with this.
A little bit, yeah.
But finally, he's adding those into production. I was wondering exactly what the game plan was with the Infestation Pit going into Hive.
Well,
or just Infestors. I'm not sure.
I think you technically can go Infestor here, but I don't know that
that's
way
more damage than should be happening. My goodness.
Not the end of the world. I mean, he's on 74 workers, right? He was on 78. It's not, it's not the biggest deal, but it's kind of nice. Get some good scouting, too. But, yeah, no, like, while I think you technically can go Infestors, I don't think they do much here, because, I mean, other than catch Void Rays randomly, you'd have to really catch them, too, and have a lot of units there, and it's just not that likely, right? So I think just getting up into your Hive tech, getting up into things like Vipers is going to be key here for Solar.
This transition coming out from Zoun, though, he has stopped Stargate production. He's going into Robotics Bay. He's adding cannons. He's getting charge and ground weapons.
You think he'll actually utilize that?
I think he might.
Okay.
I think he might go for more of a kind of mixed, varied army and potentially hit a max timing.
Okay.
That's definitely in the cards. It's going to be disruptors coming out of the Robo now that Robo Bay is complete. But it's just curious to me that he's kind of just adding more gateways and really delaying any production of the Stargate. I imagined if it was going to be straight up Stargate play and adding Templar, maybe potentially going into Archon through Storm.
Well, I
like
certainly
a
wouldn't
switch.
mind Storm / Disruptors to just stop dead in its tracks anything your opponent's doing. Because right now, I'm not actually sure what Solar's game plan is either, because he has a decent amount of Hydras, he's getting Baneling speed. It seems like both sides are kind of prepping everything, but not doing much of anything, if that makes sense. Like, no one's actually getting ready to kill the other one, but they're getting ready for everything that can happen now, which is a lot of things.
The main story for me, though, is just Zoun navigating his army composition and adding all of these Templar and Disruptor, because I'm just curious what his game plan is coming in from here. Is he going to continue with this land army and just have the Voids be kind of the Voids? Well, and deal with them as they are now, or...
It might actually be very good that he's focused on this land army, because Solar's making a lot of Lings and Banes. So now Solar has, I thought he was actually kind of doing something else here, but he has decided at this point that he's going to attack with a Ling Bane Hydra army.
We don't have Storm. We do have a good number of Archons out. And I think the third Disruptor is on the way, and this Oracle's going to see everything. He sees all the Banelings morphing. He knows this is going to be a really powerful max timing attack here by Solar, but I feel like Zoun is putting himself in a good position to defend against this, potentially even catching some units unaware. But
a little bit.
Vipers are really scary with this composition. Those have a chance to... Oh, that's a lot of... That was way too many Banelings going down on those Voids.
Yeah. Okay, he's bringing down everything now. Let's see what he gets done. Oh, he has those High Templars for the feedbacks.
He gets 2 feedbacks, but he does get the Disruptors. Only 1 in the back, no 2. But this army with the batteries, the overcharge, is able to push Solar all the way back. Disruptors getting some more shots off as well. Okay, not a bad engagement.
No, he defends it just fine. There is a Greater Spire on the way. He has to go back and refill up those Vipers. But you know what? Solar had almost 90 workers when that occurred. So even though like all those units kind of die and don't get anything done, it's fine. Like he's refilling that, no problem.
And he's remaxing on a more advanced army as well, adding Corruptors and going into Broodlords. And I like this. If you have enough ground army, especially with Vipers, to deal with the Void Rays, then what is the threat to the Broods? If this doesn't go scouted, it could be very problematic. I'm not even sure that we have Link out. All right, the Fleet Beacon is going down. Yeah, it's definitely going to be necessary, I think, to defend this Broodlord transition. Oh, catching Templars there. Not quite going down, but that was scary.
I'm not sure what type of intel we really have for Zoun. He's almost maxed out. He's making another Disruptor here. And while his army looks pretty good against Ling Bane Hydra overall, definitely Broodlords are going to make this really tough to play against.
He is starting to mix in more carriers, though, and that does seem like the right call. Especially, I think he doesn't have any hard intel in terms of what the transition is from Solar, but this army isn't getting bigger. He's been noticing that for a long time with all these little tiny skirmishes. That is not a fully maxed Zerg army right in your face. And I think that's probably what's keying him in to going through this transition. I love getting Storm here. Really got to get off those two only Archon comps for Splash.
I mean, 2 carriers, I guess he's got enough right now that he can probably bully his way through the Ling Bane Hydra pretty quickly and get underneath the Broods before the Broods do critical damage, I think.
He's adding another Stargate now, too, so he will be able to get more of those up, but I'm wondering what the anti-air situation is for Solar right now. We know that he has Vipers.
Yeah, he has 3 Vipers.
About 20 or so Hydras. Oh, 20 exactly. I'm so smart. 4 Corruptors, 2 on the field, but I guess it's hard to dive on these Broods, but I don't know. These are very awkward armies to kind of control in these fights.
The Broodlings are a real pain in the butt here
for
those.
Losing a carrier. Need feedback on those Vipers, but it's so hard to zone them out.
And look at that damage output as well. Even though the Archon had just the beautiful overcharge on it still gets picked off. The
And these
Broodlings
Broodlings
just
are
slowing.
doing work.
Yeah, it's so good against Archons.
Those Archons are getting absolutely nothing done. Some nice disruptor shots coming in, deals with some of the Hydralisks, but this army from Solar is just so powerful right now. He has so much remaining anti-air. All the voids, they're going down. 2 of them on 1 HP, 1 more on half, and looks like Solar is finally breaking through this position with some really excellent tactics. I mean, those Brutes just zoned everything out.
And Zoun just not really getting any intel out on the map. He did not know that this was occurring. It looked like, I think he was doing the carrier transition like just naturally at that time, because you are eventually going to want to do that against Lingbane Hydra, but was too slow to actually stop this Broodlord push. His army was so good on the ground and just did not have what it took in the air. Now, he does have a Tempest added in. Like, I think he's not going to die right this second, but
I think
definitely
he might die.
You think so?
That's a lot of units coming in right now. Those carriers and voids are going down to overwhelming numbers of corruptors.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That is a lot of corruptors that fly in. Is Air Army going to fall?
Solar just really navigating his army composition beautifully in that game. They were going toe-to-toe for a long time, but at the end of the day, Solar just built the army that killed Zouns.
Yeah.
I mean, even with a better engagement there at the 4th phase of Zoun, I don't see how you win that fight with so many Archons, without Tempest, with a low void and carrier count.
Well, that's the problem if you stay on that mid-tier tech. Broodlords kind of slaughter it. Like, you do need to complete your tech a little bit more. And, you know, unfortunately for Zoun, he did not do that. So, I think it was a great game, though. Like, I liked the way he went Sky Toss, but then reeled it back immensely against the incoming Lingbane Hydra, because that is something that can get you in those situations, right? Where it's like you're still on voids, you don't really have enough to kill the Hydras because the Lingbane punishes everything else you have. But,
I feel like if you're going for that composition, though, you should kind of keep up the pressure and make it hard for Zerg to transition into something that can just crush you. But
it was very passive the way he did it.
Right. All right, though, Berlingrad set number 2. Solar is up 1-0 against Zoun right now. I do like the play that we saw from Zoun. I think with a little bit more scouting intel, he can navigate his army composition in a way that he doesn't get blindsided by something like Broodlords there, which completely just shut down any chance he had of taking that fight.
All right, Berlingrad guys. Solar leading 1-0. Some beautiful play there, keeping the pressure on. Let's see if Zoun can come back in game number 2.
Game start. Alpha X Zone. Kaizi Gaming Solar.
I do like this new Solar that we're seeing here in Super Tournament.
Yeah. The new old Solar, maybe we should call him.
The Renaissance Solar.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a top Zerg in Korea for a really long time. And the thing is, if you look at his GSL history, it's not all that good. But we used to have a second tournament out here called SSL, the SPO TV Star League, right?
Right.
And he actually did fantastically in that. He was like top 4 every season. So GSL on a Monday, what a treat.
Great way to start the week, of course.
Mondays are my favorite. Finally, the weekend is over. Time to get back to work.
Finally, the weekend is over. Us esports casters with our blessed lives.
I know. You don't like your work? It's the only time I have fun.
Get to watch the best StarCraft games in the world live here at the GSL studio every single week. It's pretty nice. Yeah. I do. I'm interested by this 2-gate opening here and actually making a Zealot. Huh. Well, that's something we see too often.
I mean, it's a pull first, but it's not like, I don't know. We'll see. Sometimes against pull first, like with the late gas, you can block it with 2-gate and like send 2 adepts across the map, and it can be really difficult for Zerg to deal with that. Like, sometimes you can even send some Zealots as well to help pressure, and it's like, only the Queen can hit, right? Like, the adepts can kill almost infinity Zerglings if they don't have speed.
Yeah, and the armor with the Zealots as well lets them take a lot of shots.
Yeah. Okay, double Adept being chronoed out, so seems like that is the plan. Definitely going to put some pressure on with that.
Spanning behind this, and then starting Warp Gate up, and is that how many Adepts do we have on the field right now? Are those the first two?
Yeah, those are the first two.
Okay.
He's gonna
How
run
crazy
to
would
the
it be if
side.
you had 4 right now?
That would, yeah, no, Solar would just be like, what? It would be like that game he played against Parting where one pylon blocked the bottom of his ramp.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, this is not how the game is, right?
Let's see what this is able to get done. Two Shades going into the main base here. He is going to be able to get the tumor.
Yeah,
and that's
very nice.
Pretty impactful. I mean, that's one less inject going down in that hatchery.
Nice, that was a nice morph right there, but already 2 drones, killing off some of these lings as well.
I'm liking this damage.
Yes, it's good.
A little bit of hull damage on 1 Adept for what, 2 drone kills, loses some minerals, building a spore.
This is, I mean, this looks good to me. This is a pretty solid opener so far.
This is kind of what you need to get done to justify this opener, and I feel like at this point, you're ready to progress. You know, you got some scouting information. You know that everything is pretty much normal there at the Zerg base, saturating their expansion.
Do you like the pullback right now, or do you think he should have dived one more time?
I'm not sure if he should have dived, but you definitely could poke a little bit more.
Okay.
I think it's, God, I'm going to sound like such a nerd. I think it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds after the extractor starts or finishes that Zergling speed is done, and that's really the clock.
Yeah.
That kind of shuts down the Adepts, but if you can't really get the critical scout on that timing exactly, it's hard to kind of intuit it. So
Well, I think his probe was in the base while the gas was making, actually.
just playing it really safe then. I mean, I don't mind. You are playing against Solar, who did say in his interview that he's trying to kind of go back to what worked for him in the past in terms of playing more aggressively. So I don't mind the pullback too much as we see
Speed is done anyways, so it makes sense.
Robo-Bait coming down here for and a Warp Prism as well. Already seeing
Speed,
I guess the
Speed Disruptor drop for sure.
yeah, maybe Adepts start off and then going into Speed Disruptor. I like it.
Yeah, this is actually something that Zoun likes quite a bit in the matchup. So happy to be seeing that here against Solar. And I think actually it's a fine opening, right? He's been keeping pressure on reasonably well. Rochoran is on the way.
I think this is not only just a good opening, but this is especially a good opening against Solar's ZVP style, because when Solar was at the top of his game in ZVP, a lot of it was bent on very high aggression Roach Ravager pushes, often with Queens at third bases.
That's a good point.
What is good against that? Disruptors. And if you're already open to gate Adept, you're going to have the 4 Adepts ready with a Warp Prism to get some kind of harassment done. I mean, even just picking off some Zerglings here and applying pressure is nice. You see 18 more Lings and 3 more Roaches coming up for Solar, so
That's actually a lot of Lings in production right now.
yeah, like he might be anticipating this as kind of a delayed gateway push. It might not just be harassment. It's tough for him to tell. Adding in drones too makes me think that he's not fully ready to commit to a timing, but maybe he is. 4 or 5 more drones going down. I think he's just a little bit perplexed by this. That is a fast Warp Prism. I mean, he got that pretty much as soon as he could after those 2 gateways.
Okay, goes back to the front. He doesn't... Now, he got out of there, I believe, before Prism speed finished, so he's only probably just now figuring out that a Disruptor is the next thing.
Right.
Like 100%.
But at the same time, this is 6 gateways coming down. We got 2 in the front, 4 more in the main. He's going to take this third base, but I'm wondering really how much his heart is into turning this into a macro game. Because I kind of,
I like the way you said that, yeah.
Because
well, we're going to see exactly how much of his heart because we can just watch for probe production, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit more probes to saturate that, but no, this is a feign. He's building more gateways. Probe production has been cut. This third base is it's gonna have some probes on it eventually as the main starts to mine out, but this is mostly kind of a bluff right now. He's telling, he might even be trying to bait Solar into some aggression that you just absolutely stomp with an overwhelming army. Oh, this Overseer might be able to scout it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is critical.
Well, it's pretty common to see a Colossus, but as he gets in here and sees the amount of gateways and everything too,
the gateway tell is pretty high. I think he has a good idea what's going on now. And if you're Solar right now, I think you just want to switch full on into military production. And
I don't think we'll see another drone.
If you're going to attack, it's got to be a max. Because these gateways, they're kicking in way earlier than you would typically expect like the gateway explosion to really come into full force with a third base. Usually it's the Nexus and then the gateway is coming down.
Zoun has only lost a probe, by the way, which is kind of amazing. But yeah, I don't think Solar has any attack timing coming up for sure.
He even canceled. He's just going all in.
Oh God, he canceled the Nexus. All right, let's go.
His heart was not in it at all.
He was selling a story that just was never going to occur right there.
Oh, don't pull back, though. I don't like pulling back with those Zerglings. Time is of the essence right now because Solar's production, it's just going to keep coming across. It's going to keep building up. And trying to get some shots.
Oh, he gets, it's okay. He gets a couple roaches. Every time he gets anything, it's
Colossus.
helpful.
It's caught out of position. That's one Colossus going down for free right there. Oh, that's pretty bad.
Painful. He even got Thermal Land, so the Colossus was a big part of this.
Here we go, though. No force fields coming down yet, just trying to avoid those vials.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, and actually not the best disruption ball right there.
Yeah, these force fields are pretty good, though. He got a good number of roaches, but unfortunately, I think his sentry energy is pretty much depleted now, and I'm not sure if he does still have the 2 disruptors. Okay, they're just kind of chilling there in the back. Didn't see them on screen. Was scared for a second there. But this is starting to turn into a tough army to micro for the Protoss, especially this choke point.
And look at that, he just keeps on healing up that spore. He's been trying to knock that down. Really a pain in his side right now. Okay, another disruption ball comes out. Oh, that's a huge hit right there.
That's a max damage hit. The second one was money as well. He needs more hits like that if he's going to try and turn this one around, though, because this is like, it's such a difficult position to attack into. I'm almost surprised not coming around to the third, but no, the flank coming in here by the Zerglings.
The flank is massive, and I think that Zoun is done. That has got to be it.
Beautifully played there by Solar. 60 drones is all you need. Just build and build and build and take one big battle. And I think even how decisively Solar fought that, I think even with the second Colossus, Zoun loses that fight. That was just not going to work.
I think you're right. He did a fantastic job. I loved actually the transfusions on that spore that we saw. Like that was actually a big pain for him trying to walk forward. You don't want to be taking that extra damage, just screwing up his attack move and poking. And man, GG is called. Just a great concave. Everything about the way that Solar handled that was magnificent. That was beautifully executed.
We're seeing a new Solar here in Super Tournament.
Yeah.
He is going back to his roots.
He's on his game, man. And I mean, this is almost a Super Tournament of upsets in some ways, right? Trap has been in the finals of like the last 3.
That's right.
Zoun was in the finals of the last 2. And here he is down 0-2 against Solar right now.
On top of that, Hero, who's going to be playing our last match tonight, he's coming back as well. He's already here in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, knocking out the runner-up of GSL last season. So Super Tournament, everything is on its head right now.
This is one of the fun things about Super Tournament. I love it. We get these stories a lot because there's not quite as much time to prep for Super Tournament as there is in GSL. It's a fast-moving tournament. You get a lot of best-of-5s, and Monday, Thursday, you are done.
That's right.
And that could lead to a lot of chaos.
Yeah, we've seen that already. A lot of playing off the cuff in those last couple of rounds, or last couple of matches we had here today. Okay, Hardwire is going to be map number 3. Can Zoun start to come back, do you think?
It's going to be an uphill battle. Solar is already really killing it in this series, and he's just shown great play. Let's see what Zoun has in store for us, though. Set 3 Hardwire starts now.
Game start. Alpha X Zoun. KaiZ Gaming, Solar.
Okay. So he's going for that hatch block. The drone just coming out, going right by. Not going to be dealing with that. I believe that's Solar's wife, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yes, that is. I just got confirmation. Very happy. Man up 2-0 right now.
This is a tough spot for Zoun because not only is of course, being down 0-2 and any best of 5 is a horrible position to be in. But against Solar, I feel like the situation is almost exacerbated because of how dynamic he is as a Zerg. His aggression can be devastating. We've seen it already in this series, but his macro play is so good as well, and there are so many things, so many timings he can try and hit, that he can feign and then go for macro play. It's really tough to have a solid approach that can kind of deal with anything.
Yeah. Well, and I think his approach game 1 was pretty solid. He just kind of lost track of what Solar was doing, so there were some holes, but it's kind of why I was saying I want to see his Stargate play anyways. If you're going to be playing against Solar, I think that's going to give you the best chance of finding a position later on where you have an edge and you can get something done, because yeah, it seems like Solar is on top of his game. He's nailing his aggression, he's nailing his defense.
I think you're right, especially the way that this series has gone so far. Zoun really just kind of needs to recuperate a bit, because game number 1, like you said, he lost the thread on what was happening. He got blindsided. We do see the Stargate going down, so maybe going back to that build we saw in game number 1. But those kind of mistakes, they can't happen. Besides that, the play was solid. Just kind of hunker down, get your scouting information off, maybe go transition this into a timing, or if you are going to make it go late, you really got to navigate your composition well, especially against a player like Solar, who, in my opinion, compared to other Zergs, his tech switches can be even more deadly. He's his play is usually so dynamic. It's why he is consistently in like top 16, top 8 of so many tournaments.
Well, we definitely saw that with the transition into Broodlords. Like, he knew exactly what to get to really abuse that comp, and nailed it really quickly.
Yeah, beautiful timing, too, and keeping the pressure on with a Hydra-Ling Bane in the meantime.
Yeah.
I mean, Solar had full information just by continuously poking and prodding with that unit composition. He knew that Zoun was going to be unprepared for it, and just kind of laid down the smack on him.
All right, so the Overlord coming in, and going to be blown up, of course, by that first Void Ray. Oracle is being made as a follow-up, which, of course, the Overlord saw. But that's not uncommon at all. And the thing is, you can make just one Void Ray. You can go 2 Void Ray. You can go for lots of Void Rays, whatever you really want with this. The Oracle, of course, going to give him some potential harassment, potential defense. A lot of scouting, though, I think is the most important thing that Oracle is going to do.
That Oracle has a very important task this game, which is pretty much going to be to identify exactly what Solar is up to. He's going to want to keep tabs on the tech switches, but also largely the drone count, because if we see Solar go for what he's kind of known for in his old-style ZVP, those Roach Ravager Queen timings, you got to be keyed into that pretty much straight away to have a chance of defending it.
Yeah, yeah. He nails the creep tumor immediately.
Oh, I was wondering what went down.
Yeah, kind of funny.
Okay.
And it is going to be just straight up Sky Toss, it looks like, right? Now, we don't know, is he going to switch it up and make only a few voids like we saw on Blackburn, or is he going to stay more heavily in it, go quicker carriers? Hard to say, but the Oracle is going to, as long as he keeps it alive, which I think he's going to, it doesn't seem like he's really diving with it. You know, sometimes you see people that are like, I want 4 drone kills on this Oracle. It's like,
get greedy.
Stop after 2!
Even 2 is, I mean, the real function of the Oracle, in my opinion, is just gathering intel and keeping the Zerg honest. Just by having Oracle on the map, or even the threat of an Oracle sometimes if you decide to skip it.
Sure, I mean,
Zerg,
they have to make spores.
Yeah, it kills 3 drones because they have to turn into spores.
Yeah.
They're paying money to die.
Yeah, just fly around and tag stuff and figure it out, right? Like, fly around the queens, look at that, good tag. Eventually, you want to try to do a pass, like, behind the mineral lines. Here, I feel like you're going to, if there's something sneaky like Aspire, it's probably the natural behind the minerals, right? Hardest place to get to.
And it actually is looking a lot more like what we saw in game number 1. The Twilight Council finishes, and once that's done, the Robo starts as well. Mixing in sentries as well. It's looking almost mirrored to the strategy he had in the beginning. So the question kind of is, if you're Zoun, what do you do in terms of transitions here? And surprisingly, we actually have a really early Spire coming up for
Yeah.
Solar, and he's banking a lot of gas.
Yeah, it looks like he does want to do something with that. Now, let's see if he can dive behind that natural, because I bet you that is where the Spire is. Right, that's just kind of how to play this type of position. Okay, there.
Yep.
He flies behind. He sees the Spire. It is right there. And that's like the most important scout of the game right there. And as soon as it got scouted, we see the infestation pit going down.
And we see a lot of gateways through Zoun as well. So he doesn't really want to contest in the air battle even. He wants to go for a ground army.
Well, I guess if you go Corruptors and your opponent goes ground army, those Corruptors are pretty garbage.
Charge Lot Archon is pretty good against Corruptors,
Yes,
yeah.
It really is.
Going up, that's 8 gateways. It's a lot of gateways.
Yeah.
This is like a 2010 Huck level of gateways. This is absurd. Yeah, he's looking to really nail this transition right now, even adding in more voids. And it will be Corruptors coming up from Solar, and at the same time, Lethal Reconstitution. I love that against this army composition against Zoun. If you're able to kite those, especially with Carapace upgrades. Zealots really don't do that well against large masses of roaches. So we'll have to see how Solar decides to kind of divvy up his resources across those, and love this SimCity here as well.
Oh, look at this. It was like 3 Corruptors and a bunch of Mutas. Oh, this is fascinating. And he's getting the Carapace upgrades with that.
He's making even more Mutas.
Yeah, that's a serious amount of Mutas. I think this is not what he was expecting.
That is a brave switch against double Stargate with +1 air weapons.
Yes. Well, I think that's why he's getting the +1 Carapace, right? And then you get enough Corruptors to try to chase. If there are Phoenixes, you chase them away. Okay, Phoenix is starting to be produced.
He has caught wind of this.
We don't see a Fleet Beacon yet, right? So if there's no Fleet Beacon, Corruptors actually can beat Phoenixes.
I think the Fleet Beacon probably will be in the cards in just a little bit, but right now there's a really dangerous window where all of Solar's bank from the past 5+ minutes is just coming straight into these Mutas, and he has to deal with this problem right now.
He's 185 supply right now. Like he he's skyrocketed up with these.
Good SimCity here in the main, zoning a lot of this out. Natural, quite a bit more exposed though. Only 1 photon cannon. That's going to get taken out right away, and 4 Phoenixes do not fare very well against this. Good connections though with the Voids. Those get melted. My goodness.
Yeah, the Voids really do their job there. But that is a lot of Mutas. And look at this. He's targeting down some pylons here around the Stargates.
Any damage that he can get, he's trying to go for right now. And right now, this is the Muta's time. He needs to continue to snowball this. And any Phoenix damage he can get, any economic damage he can get is critical, because eventually, all else being equal, oh, another big engagement coming in right here.
Yeah, he's starting to pick off some of the Voids there as well. Look at this, a huge Ling Flood over onto that 4th base location. There are a lot of cannons, but does that matter?
That Archon almost got a really big hit there with splash damage on the air. But Solar is playing this perfectly. You want to get a death ball level of Mutas. You cannot let the Phoenixes snowball and match you, because they will eventually win that fight, and he's playing it beautifully. This aggression. Corruptors right now attacking the Phoenixes on the right side as the Mutas go after the Disruptors. Just taking beautiful trades. 27 probes going down, and Zoun just getting caught completely off guard here. I mean, the transition was smart, but Solar with immaculate control, just really taking control of the situation here.
Dude, the Archons can't even get in there because of the walling type. So
you almost need to like destroy his wall to have a chance.
Or recall those Archons up. I don't know, man. But right now he is getting completely ravaged by the Corruptor Muta. And he's picked off all the Voids now, which means the Corruptors can just push these Phoenixes back so easily. Damn, man.
That's going to be it.
Solar's going to win Super Tournament, man. He is playing like a beast.
That was a fast 3-0.
Yeah.
We've had some quick best of 5s already today, and that was one of the fastest.
And he showed a full range there as well. Like, he was doing everything he needed to do at all moments. That was a beautiful game there.
The Muta transition is so smart, too, because it's even though it got scouted, I don't think Zoun expected him to commit so hard, because, again, on paper, the Skytoss will beat that.
Yeah.
You have to, as the Zerg, get on top of the Stargates and not let the Phoenix hit critical mass. And I don't think we saw the Phoenix count go above 5 that game. He was just constantly picking them off every single fight. Just brilliant control. That was some of the best ZVP I've seen from Zolar in a very long time.
Truly, truly. Some beautiful play from Solar so far in this tournament. Just destroying his opponents thus far. 3-0 Dream, 3-0 Zoun.
Hasn't dropped a map.
Yeah. Yeah, and now here he is in the top 4. This is his best result in years in GSL. So congrats to him. All right, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, guys. When we come back, Maru versus Hero.